Okay, I want to talk about grips on a bike. And essentially, I see grips as like, mainly two categories. And that's not really the case, but for the purpose of this video, that's the way I'm going to interpret it. And I'm going to tell you what I think, my favorite grips are. I mean, there's a lot of different kind of grips, honestly, but for this video, definitely we're sticking with two. So I'm going to start with foam grips. And historically, my favorite grips of all time have been Ritchey WCS foam grips. I mean, they're so sweet. The curvature of the grip, it has these edges. When your hands touch it, they just feel good. Those grips are really nice. It just, I think there are pressure points in your hands that those grips actually get on the pressure point. So it's like massaging your hands. It's really good stuff. So historically, they've been my favorite for like 2 decades or more. I don't even remember how long I've used them, but they're really nice. And the grips we use now on our bikes essentially emulates them, to be honest with you. They don't have the pressure points, they're more ergonomic. So not as sweet, but they're good. They're really good. What's the problem with foam grips? Because if they're the best, you just buy them and you're done. Well, the problem is if you leave them out in the rain, or if it's really a lot of humidity in the air, man, those things absorb water and they get deformed and then they get funky. They're kind of trash, I'd say. I mean, I've lived at the beach for a long time and I always leave bikes outside. I mean, it's part of the deal, over the years, over the past 2+ decades, I always leave bikes outside and the foam grips get funky and I use them anyway. But when they kind of get wet, they expand. They're just weird. They're not as nice. I bike with them anyway, but I wouldn't recommend you do that. And then I have tried to keep them inside more often because of that. So outside of super rainy seasonal stuff, I think foam grips are just a bomb, really. What other grips are there out there? Well, there's rubber style grips, right? I don't know if they make them out of rubber, but they seem to be made out of rubber. Doesn't mean they are. But I remember when I was a young kid going to races and all this, one of my friends had Uri, Aury or something like that, Oury grips. And I remember, he was telling me that was a big upgrade for his bike and stuff like that. And he paid, good money for those grips. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's check it out. And I like grabbed the grips. I'm like, what is this? This is like crap, it's so uncomfortable. And he tried to, explain to me it was like some kind of motocross company or whatever, they made stuff for like motocross bikes, like motorcycle stuff, and I'm like, man, that is like the most ridiculous grip on earth. I just remember, it's like, these are horrible. They're just uncomfortable. I mean, you need some really good gloves with those grips. Like, I mean, I go out biking with the foam stuff, no gloves, it's cool. But with those Ory grips, you need some gloves. I mean, and I think it has to do with the high frequency modulation. What they take away is like the big bumps. They just take the edge off, whereas the foam ones take the edge off the little bumps. And when you're biking in town with a folding bike, you don't get the big stuff that you get off road. So maybe there's an argument for the Ory grips. But I can tell you, when I put my hands on those handlebars, I'm like, I don't want that. And lo and behold, I did a search, like a year or two ago, and my God, those things sell. Those things are actually famous and popular and stuff. I'm just, wow. I mean, I'm just gonna claim that I don't think people know what they're doing. Okay. And they might be really good for certain types of riding and certain styles and certain stuff. Obviously, if you're gonna be in a rainforest, you don't want a foam grip. So they would obviously, maybe be better. But I really think they're horrible grips. And I think that whole class of rubber grips is just atrocious, unless you live in a rainforest area and, the foam absorb all the moisture and just get strange, and deformed and uncomfortable. Yeah, so as far as grips go, stick with the foam stuff. Ritchey WCS, sweet. I mean, those pressure points in your hands are going to be like, yay. All right, thank you for watching. Appreciate it.